What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hello, it's the Goof. How you degenerates doing? You're not all degenerates. I mean, there's you, and there's you. You're not degenerates, but some of you, you're degenerates. You know you're degenerates. Anyhow, so you all knew I was so excited to have Starlink. I thought it was going to be the answer to my prayers as far as having broadband because there's nothing here. I've had HughesNet. I've had um, I've had Viasat, and currently I have this that I was using tethered for 30 gigs of broadband. This is what I had, and it wasn't enough. None of them were enough prior to Starlink. I was looking forward to having real broadband because, in my mind, real broadband does not cap people. It shouldn't cap people. Real, real broadband, good broadband should not cap you. Okay? It should not cap you. But they're adding caps to Starlink. I just got my kit a month ago, and now they're adding. I can't even return it. It's been over 30 days. I can't return it now. I'm stuck with it. Um, I could sell it off and cancel my service, and then somebody else, whoever I sell the equipment to, could send the equipment in to get refurbished or whatever, reactivated and everything, and sent back to them, and they could use it if there's an opening in their area. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to it, but let's go ahead and read the article involved in it. So, SpaceX Starlink quietly mentioned high-speed data caps are coming for U.S. users. The company adds new language to Starlink's terms of service about users receiving a monthly allocation of priority access. Basically, the same bullshit that I've had to deal with in the past from Viasat and HughesNet. Same bullshit. So now I'm going to be stressed again. That was one of the things I wanted, a relief from the stress and the anxiety of worrying about having to run out of data every month. I don't think I even use that much data, not like most people. There are people that are using terabytes. I don't think I've even used a terabyte this month. But I don't want to have to worry about it. Nobody should have to worry about it. It's stressful. It's very stressful. I know families that use it, and their kids are gaming, and the kids are gaming. The parents are doing work from it, and they use up terabytes and terabytes of the stuff. Because they use it like a broadband service. They live in rural areas. And now all of a sudden they're having to worry about a data cap? Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. I mean, like, this should have been in place from the get-go, and they should be more transparent about it and open about it. Hey, here's data caps. No, they just drop it into their terms of service. They just drop it in there quietly, and they don't make a fanfare about it. I can tell you now there's going to be people dropping their Starlink. They're not going to keep it. The ones that I would like to see drop it are the ones who don't need it. If you have other options in your area, if you have broadband in your area, you didn't need this to begin with. You're part of the problem, all right? That's why there's so much congestion. There's congestion because there's people who do have other options, but they chose Starlink as a novelty. This is part of the problem. You did not need this as a novelty, you asswipes. For those motherfuckers out there who bought this as a novelty, fuck you. Because you're ruining it for the rest of us, you fucknuts. You had other options, and you went with this. And you started just sucking up data, causing congestion. Part of it is Starlink's fault, because they didn't have anything in place to begin with. They didn't have anything to begin with. They didn't put anything in place to prevent people who didn't need it from getting it. But let's go ahead. We're going to read over the article and we're going to talk about it. So the new language adds new language to Starlink's terms of service about users receiving the priority access. It looks like SpaceX is preparing to impose high-speed data caps for Starlink users in the U.S., possibly to address congestion woes facing the satellite internet service. Yeah, there is congestion. As I said, I don't use that much, and I don't even get a great signal. But here we are. That's this is even in the. Does this really solve anything? I don't know. I don't think it does. And they're going to see people drop their service. People are going to drop it. Then they're going to lose money anyways. Like the best thing they can do is just keep launching their new generation of set. Well, that'll be next year when they start getting those launched. But yeah, so they added a section to the Starlink terms of service that discusses potentially slowing down internet speeds for subscribers once they exceed a monthly limit, which was noticed by a user on Reddit. According to the new policy, residential Starlink users will receive a quote unquote monthly allocation of priority access with fast internet speeds. But once they exceed an unspecified limit, speeds could be reduced if the surrounding area is already full of other data hungry Starlink subscribers. I already deal with that because I'm on best effort. But what they're basically saying is people who aren't on best effort will get, after so much data, will get knocked down to best effort, which I don't think best effort's been all that bad. Best effort's not even that bad. There are times where if I had a better view of the sky, I would get maybe 6 megabytes a second. Megabytes. I don't count megabits. But if you want to calculate that yourself, go ahead and calculate it. But I get like 6 megabytes, and I'm like, that's pretty good. I like that. That's way better than what I dealt with before. When you deal with absolute garbage your entire life living in a rural area, this is like a refreshing ray of sunshine, just beaming down on you. So I've been able to download some things and get them. But yeah, okay, so they'll receive the monthly allocation priority access with fast internet speeds once they exceed an unspecified limit. Speeds could be reduced if the surrounding area is already full of other data-hungry Starlink subscribers. Under such plan, after you have used your monthly limit of priority access data, you will continue to have an unlimited amount of basic data for the remainder of your billing cycle. So basically, you get knocked down to best effort. You don't get the several hundred, you don't get the several hundred megabits, which amounts to, I don't know, for some people it's like 15 megabytes a second. I mean, which is pretty cool. I don't get that. But again, I'm best effort. Yeah, so they'll basic data for remainder of the billing cycle. With basic data, your access will no longer be prioritized over traffic generated by other customers during periods of network congestion. So yeah, this is meant to help with a lot of the congestion. Congestion's not too bad where I live. I'm in a rural area. My cell is rural. Yeah. Uh, Speeds per basic data plan could get slow enough that the policy warns in times of network congestion, users with basic access may experience slower speeds and reduced performance compared to priority access, which may result in degradation or unavailability of certain third-party services or applications. So this is their policy right here. I'm going to go and read it here in a minute, but we're going to read the article first. SpaceX is also bringing the same caps to Starlink users in the business tier and for its upcoming mobile service plan. But it seems these customers will be able to receive additional priority access if they pay for it. After priority access data is exhausted each month based on your data limits set per service plan, Starlink will throttle your upload and download speeds for business and mobility service plans unless additional priority access is purchased. The terms of service says later adding certain service plans allow customers to select add-on services for additional fees per gigabyte. The terms of service also link to a fair use policy for Starlink, which is intended to describe how SpaceX can manage subscriber network traffic and potentially throttle the speeds. However, currently the link leads to a 404 error page. The terms of service also make no mention of what the monthly high-speed data cap will be set at. SpaceX did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but in August, the company announced a similar policy for users in France. Specifically, the high-speed caps involved slowing down a customer's internet speeds once they exceed 250 gigabytes monthly. I don't think I even use that. We don't know. Monthly data limit, and if capacity on network has been restricted, quote, users can also choose to purchase additional data to recover priority for $10 every 100 gigabytes, which that's not terrible. That's extra $10, $20, $30 a month that Starlink would then get from you that could help fund things further down the road. In a way, it's good. I mean, they're having trouble keeping up, but it's their fault because they keep just giving it out to tons of people. They oversell in certain areas. That's why we're fixing to get a Generation 2 network stuff that they're going to send up. Currently, SpaceX imposes no data caps for Starlink in the U.S. Nevertheless, speeds have been slowing down due to network congestion. Likely because Starlink has become so popular. Yeah, like I said early on, at least I think I said it early on, there are people who have it as a novelty. You don't get it for a novelty. And Starlink doesn't have a way to they don't have somebody on the other side that checks and goes, here's your address, this is where you live, let's see what services you have there. Oh, you have services, we're not available to you. We're not available in your area. This is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Viasat and HughesNet both do this. So why they're not doing it, I don't know. They literally need to have somebody sitting there going, let's see. Sorry, I have a keyboard right here. I'm hitting on the desk, but yeah. Let's see. Oh, yes. I see that you have other options in your area. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would just go, oh, I'm sorry. We're not available to you. Yeah, sorry. We're not. Yeah, no, we're not available to you. We're not available in your area. Sorry. They needed to do that, and they didn't do that. They needed to do that early on, and they weren't doing that. There are people in cities who are getting this crap. It's not crap. It's great stuff. It's been a godsend for me, but wow. Oh, okay. So, yeah. They've been slowing down network congestion, likely because Starlink has become so popular. As a result, demand for Starlink is stretching the network capacity, which can bring the normal high-speed download speeds to 5 megabits per second or lower, according to affected users. To solve the congestion woes, SpaceX plans on sending thousands of more Starlink satellites into orbit, but that'll require time and approval from the FCC. Still, the new high-speed data cap policy could alienate Starlink subscribers, many of whom are already paying $110 per month for the service. Good news for night owls. The new terms of service says that using Starlink from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. will not count towards priority access data limits. Yeah, so let's go up here. I'm going to go up to terms of service. We're going to look at their terms of service real quickly. If they're still here, they're still here. All right. So we're going to go down, I think it's 4. Fair use policy and data allocation per service plan. The fair use policy, Starlink fair use policy describes how we manage our network traffic and allocate customer data based on your service plan. Residential service plans. Residential service plans include a monthly allocation of priority access. Under this plan, I don't know why they worded it that way. After you have used your priority limit of or monthly limit of priority access data, you will continue to have an unlimited amount of basic data for the remainder of your billing cycle. With basic data, your access will no longer be prioritized over traffic generated by other customers during periods of network congestion. In times of network congestion, users with basic access may experience slower speeds and reduced performance compared to priority access, which may result in degradation or unavailability of certain third-party services or applications. Your usage between 11 p.m. 7 a.m. Will not count towards the data limit. See, yeah, I'm not staying up like that anymore. I used to have to do that with Viasat. It was making me sick. I couldn't stay up at night like that. See the Starlink fair use policy for data allocation. They mentioned how it goes to a 404 error page. Yep, page not found. So I'm not going to read these right here. Business is going through it. Let's go to 4.4. Tracking data use and purchase more priority access. You can track your monthly data usage and purchase additional priority access at any time via the Starlink app, and apparently we're going to be able to. Customer portal by opting into being automatically charged for more priority access if you hit your data limit. Data usage per month will also be displaced on your monthly invoice. Once you opt in, you will be automatically billed for additional data used until you opt out, including the following billing cycles. You may opt out of purchasing additional priority access at any time in Starlink customer portal. Additional details on priority access fees billing can be found on the Starlink FAQ. Starlink's frequently asked questions, and no, it just goes to this. So okay. So, and then there's this one, add-on service. Certain service plans allow customers to select add-on services for additional fees per gigabyte. For example, adding transcontinental data. Yeah, well, I'm not going outside the U.S. I'm staying right here at my property. At my property. I'm staying right here at my property. That's right. I'm going to stay right here, right there, here at my property. Anyhow, I don't know where that accent came from. It was a mistake, and then I just went with it. Hey there, ho there. Anyhow, so this is the thing that gets me. So you'll be able to track your use and purchase more priority access. Okay, so if you opt into it, my guess is for so much money, they'll give you so much data. So basically what this means is if you need another so much, which in France, like I said, it's around $10 for like 100 gigabytes. So what they'll do is if you opt into it, once you reach $110 and you go over the 250 gigabyte limit, like, okay, well now we're going to add you another 100 gigabytes for $10. That's what they do in France. I don't know if that's what it's going to be like here. Kind of hoping it will be. Like 100 gigabytes for $10 is pretty good, because I had Viasat. Viasat was, oh God, the greed was real, because they were like, oh, we can't handle the congestion, but we'll handle it for you if you pay us some extra cash. Oh yeah. $10 for a gigabyte. $10 for a single gig. $10 for a single gig. A single gig. A single freaking gig. I don't ever want to go back to that. That is ridiculous. But that's Viasat, and I think even HughesNet. That is probably not going to be Starlink. Again, Starlink works differently than those. They have a stationary large thing up in orbit that is further out, whereas Starlink are these networks that are going around closer to the planet, much closer. It works pretty good when it works. It works great when it works, and then not very great when it doesn't want to work very great. Again, now it sounds to me like everybody will be dumped down to my speeds, the speeds I deal with, once they reach that limit, unless they pay more. I feel like this is partly to help with two things. One, to help with congestion. They slow everybody down who's reached a limit. It relieves congestion. The other is to get more money. Because, and not necessarily for greedy reasons, but to fund the expansion of the service, to put more of those generational, satellites up there. They have some new ones they want to start launching, but FCC, just let them please, for the love of God, FCC, let them do it. The reason their speeds have dropped is because of congestion. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of underserved people in a lot of areas. My area has no fiber. My area has no fat copper or cable. My area doesn't have these things. Starlink was the closest thing to real broadband that I've ever experienced in a while. But if all they're doing is slowing down to what I'm dealing with now, okay, okay, I'll cope with it, and I'll pay, and I'll opt in, and then every month I might end up paying maybe $130 for several hundred gigs, because I'm going to tell you, I might end up going over that. I might end up going to like 300 gigs, 350 gigs, 400 gigs might end up being what I end up using, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's what it is in France. Hopefully, it's the same here in the U.S. I can cope with that. I can cope with that. A lot of people can't, because here's the thing: there's a lot of people that are streaming in 4K and 8K, and it's like, why are you streaming like that? I don't even need that. I feel like the idea of 4K resolution is kind of ridiculous. Who needs that high of a resolution? I don't. I've been watching things in 720p, 1080p, sometimes 480p. It's watchable. It's watchable. It's fine. I don't need all this, and most of the stuff that I play, yeah. So I'll be able to cope with this. I'll be fine. I'll be great. I think I'll be okay. Just depends on what the allocated amount. I do hope it's more than 250 gigs. This is the US. This is not France. Maybe that's enough for the French, but not for the US. So, and I still believe that once they get better satellites in space, after the FCC approves it, the better Generation 2s that are going to start going up there, I think, are also going to alleviate this. And I'm pretty sure the plans will change over time. I hope that's what they're going to do. So yeah, here we are. Here we are. We are here. This is what it is. I was so looking forward to having this service, and now I'm nervous again. My anxiety couldn't handle dealing with companies like Viasat, or only getting 30 measly gigs on my phone. 30 measly gigs. Which, Verizon, get off your butts and figure something out. There's no 5G in my area, by the way. My area has no 5G. My area was slowly expanding. There were more people moving here. There were more people moving here. I haven't seen too many people in my cell. I've literally driven around my cell. My cell isn't that big. I've lived here a while, so I drove around. I was like, okay, let's see what people have, right? Let's find out what people have. And I've driven around. Not very many people out here in this cell have Starlink. So I feel like this is to target people partly, in part, to make it tougher on people who didn't need Starlink to begin with. Maybe this will convince those people to drop off of it and stop paying for it. Be like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm selling my Starlink kit. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and get one of my local services like you should have done to begin with. And that's going to be it. People are going to do that. I feel bad. I do feel bad for the families. Like, they're good. In fact, that's what they need, is a family plan. A family plan. They need something set up for families. I don't know. I don't know what's going on yet. You'll notice this happened after the FCC denied SpaceX and Starlink government funding for rural broadband. And they denied them because of the slowing down in the congestion. And I'm pretty sure putting something like this in place is not going to help. It's not going to help us. The FCC is going to look at this and go, well, now you're just really messing people over. Again, I'm not trying to be mean, because I don't want Elon Musk to cancel my service for me. I'm not going to try and be a dick towards Elon and his company, but come on, you guys got to check. You can't just give it, you can't just give it willy-nilly to whoever wants it. And that's what's been basically happening, is there are people who are getting it who don't need it. People in the cities, why are you getting it? It was never meant for that. Even Musk himself was like, it's not meant for people in the city. And yet there are people in cities who are getting it. And they're like, well, we can't service everyone in the city. It won't work. It can't be done. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyhow, thank you for watching. This has been The Goof, and I will see you in my next video.